Wages World here. It's April 3rd, 2020. I'm coming at you with the video. First thing I'm going to say is thanks, guys, to everybody that's been sending me prayers and well wishes and thoughts and energy and everything my way. Positive stuff constantly. That really helps me. It keeps me uplifted. I actually just slept for 18 hours without waking up. Not even used the bathroom. But that should tell you how much it's having a toll on me physically. But I will say this too, guys, listen, my inner circle, what I call my inner circle is, Scott, Mike and Cindy, over Evolutionary Energy Arts, Hopi, John Boy, Nathan, all these guys, they initiate conversations with me, and obviously I initiate conversations with them. But the first thing that they ask is, how are you feeling? And that right there speaks volumes, because they actually care more about my well-being than what they do about the research or whatever conversation we're having. That speaks volumes to me, and I can't tell you how much, it makes me feel like they actually care. Because I think that they do. And sometimes that's enough. It really is, just to get you through the day. Or keep you at least in a positive state of mind that you as much as you can during times like this. And, I just can't say, how much I appreciate it. But yeah, so I am going to move on here. We'll talk about the information here. Also, guys, if I start having a coughing attack, I will, pause this so you guys ain't got to listen to it. But anyway, this right here is a Schumann, guys, Schumann resonance. This is something really strange. Okay, I've never seen this before. But too many things happened here that tells me that something actually did happen. Okay? And I can't explain it. I'm just going to show you the observation and let you guys decide for yourself. And if you have any ideas what this is, let me know. But just for a base reference here, people that don't know what the Schumann resonance is, it's the vibration of the Earth. Okay? It's supposed to be right around 7.83. And that's why we get this line right here all the way through, and it stays there. Okay? So if you look over here, it says 7, it's right around 8 or 7.83, whatever there, right? So, but we've been noticing that we're seeing other things kind of stay pretty constant too. And that's not normal. All right? Also, these dashed lines, I've been talking about this for months now. It started down here around the 24 hertz mark. Okay, but then this actually went away for like months. And this one showed up. Okay, so I don't know what these are. I just don't. I can't say definitively what any of that is. But if you look here, you see these little spikes that we're getting? They're very short-lived, but they are spiked. Okay, I've been noticing that a lot. Like multiple ones, but there'll be lags in between them. They don't last very long at all. The date's up here, 4/1, which would be April 1st. That's how they do it here, because this is a Russian website, okay, just so you guys know. This here's the second, and we're seeing something similar. Then we had a pretty long duration spike there, right around 1700 to 1900, about 2 or 3 hours there on the second, okay. But then we get this. I have never in my life seen that. Okay? I don't know what to think about this, because I have to explain also to people who don't know, there's multiple stations getting these resonance data points. Okay? And then they combine them all together, and then they take an average of that, and that's when they plot this point, okay? And a data point on this graph is a straight line, like this. It's not a dot or going horizontal. It's a vertical model, okay? So if it's taking an average, and you're still getting crazy looking waved signatures like that, you have to ask, what in the world? If it was just one line that was kind of screwed up, jacked up, or whatever, I probably wouldn't think much about it. Then we get this dead spot. That doesn't happen very often. That means they were getting no data at all there. So we get these crazy looking lines, and then there's a drop off there, right? Then we get this big spike right after that. So I don't know what this is, okay? I'm just showing you the observation. The only thing that I can think of, okay, and this could be true. I always put this out here. It could be a tool flaw, all right? There could have been some sort of jacked up data or whatever. But it's kind of odd because, like I just said, they're getting data points from different locations and put an average. So for it to repeat that pattern in a wave like that, it had to see that same average off of 10 stations again or more multiple times. But the only other thing that would lead me to think that maybe this is a tool flaw is right after you've seen all this jacked up mess, you get this loss of data right here, that big dark black line right there, where no data was coming in. At least that's what the model's telling you. But then you got to take into consideration the big spike here, right after all that. So what's going on? It's really, really strange. And when you see these spikes, people that haven't been around any of this information before, sometimes your ears will start ringing. We have to have this resonance or we get all jacked up. It's directly related to mental health and crime rate and all that, guys. I'm not going to go too much more into that part of it because I've explained it a bunch of times. You can simply just research Schumann resonance and you can find out what it actually does to you, your mind, and your body. They pump it into the ISS and any space craft that people are in for any length of time, because if they don't, they go crazy. It's that simple. Also, people that work underground, they got to do that for them too. So anyway, this is really, really strange, and I have no idea what any idea what that actually is. If anybody does, please tell me. Okay. And again, I'm not ruling out that it's a tool flaw. I just want to know. So all that happened at once. You know, if this big spike wasn't there right after all that, I don't know that I would have even much considered what was going on here. Because it's just, to me, it's just too much of a coincidence. That's all. Plus, we had a similar spike back here, but it wasn't as long lasting. So yeah. So I really don't know, guys. You know, and something else I'm going to say here real quick about the global illness that we're all talking about. I probably won't be reporting on that much more. I might give you some numbers here and there, but I most certainly do not believe any of the numbers. Okay? But I also most certainly don't think that this is fake. And when I say fake, I mean the word fake. Okay? Which means not real at all. There is something happening right now in our world. So it can't be fake, because we can be getting told wrong information and skewed data and stuff like that. Whether they're hyping it up, hyping it down, whether they initiated this and whatever happened after that, they lost control of it and it just went crazy or whatever. Okay? The fact of the matter is, none of us are ever going to be able to know the true numbers on this. We will not. And I think anybody that's actually looking for the truth will be able to tell you that. Because that is the truth of it. We're not going to know any good. We might get close with some numbers or ideas or theories. But at the end of the day, guys, even with all the information that we get, and a lot of it's really good information, at the end of the day, you have to consider that at best it's an educated guess, or just educated guess, or speculation. Okay, which causes us to form an opinion, which causes us to have a actual position on what we believe. That's usually how almost everything works in this world. Okay, including this thing. So I do think that we need to keep that in consideration when we're having these discussions. I pulled down my last video because people misunderstood what I was saying. I wasn't saying that I think that this stuff is 100% true at all. But I can also tell you that my family goes out to work every day in this mess. I got 3 of my immediate family members, both of my sons and my wife, go to what they right now are being considered essential jobs. My son works at the hospital. My middle son does. Okay? My oldest works at a distribution center, which those guys are just as important as anybody else is dealing with this, because none of us would be getting the stuff that we get, goods of any sort, without these distribution centers being open and operating and their workers going to work. Okay? Both of my sons have been put into quarantine for a certain amount of time because of where they work and other stuff that's happened. I can't say, I'm so proud of both of my sons, because they go to work unless they're told not to. In this day right now, that takes a little bit of courage to do that. And they're not willing to, let the rest of the people just go without nothing. Okay, my wife works at a bank. So you guys can, I get a really unique perspective on this whole thing, because I get it from a hospital, I get it from a distribution center, I get it from a bank, and my daughter is here home from school. And she tries to help out around the house and all that when everybody's doing whatever. Right? So that's how awesome my family is, actually. And I feel blessed to have them. Plus, my oldest son, he has 3D printed masks and stuff. He's trying to help people with high-risk demographics, like elderly people. Okay? He's not selling them. He's just giving them out. The ones that he had. Not even charging for material. Okay? And again, my other son, he goes to work every day at the hospital, and they're no longer allowed to serve themselves out there. He works in dietary. They have to serve everybody that comes in there personally. They're not letting anybody grab trays and go get their own food and stuff. That's what I'm trying to say. Okay? It takes a lot of courage for somebody to, do that in an area of the world where this stuff is, we always hear about the nurses and the doctors getting sick. So, we never hear about the other people that work there. I can't tell you how proud I am of both of my boys and my wife. It's hard to watch them all go to work. It really is. It's hard. So when somebody says that none of this is going on, that's why I get so angry about it. And I wanted to clarify that, because, and I think it's justified. I really do. People, have lost babies, have lost grandmas and grandpas, moms, dads, sisters. We've all had people we've lost in the past, right? So just put yourself in their shoes for a second. What if it was you that lost a baby, or a mom, or a dad, or a grandparent, or a brother, sister, whatever? What if that was you, and then somebody just kept telling you none of this was real? Because that's what fake means. Not real. Not, hey, some of this stuff we're not getting right data, or we're not getting the right information. People are actually out there saying that this is just nothing but a big illusion. Nothing's going on. Those are the people I was talking about in that video I pulled down. Okay, and I got slammed. The only reason why I pulled it, because it's not because of what I said in it. It was because people misunderstood. Okay, that's why. People that are out there saying that this is one big illusion, I really, it's hard for me not to feel something there, because I watched my family go through this. And, there's a lot of evidence and stuff pointing towards that some of this stuff that is going on obviously is not the truth. I get that, and I've been saying it since day one, and I want you guys to really, go back and watch my first video on this. I said from the beginning, we're never going to know the true numbers. We're not. We may not even truly know what this actually, how it started. We probably won't. Again, we can, yes, make a very highly educated guess by the research and stuff we do, but none of us, and I mean none of us, can sit here and say we have 100% truth on this. Okay? We can get close. But we cannot sit there and say that. So when somebody's lost a family member or an infant, and you tell them that what they just went through is fake, man, I don't understand that. So please understand, those of you guys that actually did see that video of mine that I pulled down, please understand that's what I was talking about. Okay, people are actually saying that this is nothing but a big illusion. Not a messed up situation that they're trying to control, but this is just one big illusion. So, I'll end that part there. So, yeah, hold on a second. Okay, guys, this is over at spaceweather.com. I want to show you guys a couple things here I thought was interesting. Obviously, they're saying we're going to get a minor stream of solar wind around the 4th or 5th. So we may see some geomagnetic activity going on, which means increased auroras. We should be on the lookout for earthquakes to uptick and be more intense. I know we had the earthquake over there in Idaho. I actually had started making a video, but I didn't finish it because I just was not feeling well at all. That right there, when you get an earthquake like that hasn't, in that area of the country, that they hadn't experienced in years, decades, okay, and then for it to be that intense, it's just so, yeah, to me, it's just not, a coincidence. Plus, they were then we had a rash of like 5-point plus ones around the planet, not just over there. So when we start seeing that kind of stuff, we have to, really take in consideration what's actually going on. We were getting increased solar wind, like 2 hours before that, even before that. SDO, one of the satellites I show you guys, almost to the minute, like an hour or two right before that earthquake happened, the SDO got shook. Okay? And for those of you guys that are asking what the SDO is, it's a satellite that looks at the sun, and I show you the pictures of the sun all the time from there. So if the sun was here, the Earth is here, the satellite is like 1,000,000 miles closer to the sun than what we are. Okay? So it's out there, right, in front of us. So when that satellite got shook from something, which I think that was probably solar wind, some sort of solar wind burst or something that shook that satellite a little bit, it got jarred. And we caught it on the SDO. It shook. I might even show it to you here in a minute. But that's 1,000,000 miles closer to the sun. So we had a little bit of a lag before it got here, after it hit that satellite. We have to understand that. So, we got hit with that, and then the earthquake happened very, very shortly after. And I'm not saying that that's what actually caused it. I'm just saying that we need to take that in consideration and put that into the formula that we use, at least in our brain, of if, space weather affects earthquakes, and we just need to take that in consideration. That's all. It takes a whole lot of things for earthquakes to happen, guys. Not just one thing. So it's all part of the big equation. That's what I'm trying to say. And I said that a bunch too. Anyway, also I think that this right here, Venus and Pleiades, they're doing a little conjunction here. I'm not sure if anybody's been outside to look at the stars, but Venus has been really, really bright. Plus, the Pleiades stars out there too. So if you guys got a chance, right here, it says, what's it say? Venus apparent. Okay, yeah, on the 3rd, tonight. Okay? There's going to be like an even closer conjunction where they're kind of lined up together. They're going to look as if they're one bright spot in the sky, and they could be really, really bright. Okay? That's why I'm showing it to you. Because, obviously you're going to have people out there saying this is something that it's not. You could have watched it transient across the sky the past few days. They were getting closer to each other. Now, tonight, I guess, is when, if you go outside and you look up in that area of the sky, you're going to see that. So, yeah, I think that's pretty crazy. Also, the comet, I get a lot of questions about Comet Atlas. Guys, I'm not going to put a whole lot of, I don't know. I don't even know what to say here, just to be honest. Yeah. So, anyway, the comet itself, yes, it's coming. It's, around the time frame, it's going to take it about a month before it actually, where we don't even have to talk about it no more. But it does have a rather large coma with it. Okay, it's like half the size of the sun. That's not, the comet isn't half the size of the sun. Just basically what I'm going to call its atmosphere. Okay, the core of the comet itself isn't really all that big. So, and there's questions on where it came from, because they just discovered this back in December. That's why it's called Atlas 2019, or and then got some other coded letters and stuff there. Okay, that's what they do when they discover it in a certain year. It always gets that pre-designation as 2019 or 2018, whenever they first seen it. And they're saying this thing comes around like every 6,000 years, roughly. Okay, at least that's why I understand it. And it's going to come into our inner solar system. Now, it's coming in at an angle. Okay, so that means it's coming in more up and down than what we would consider horizontal orbit around the sun. So that's why we don't know exactly what's going to happen. Last time a comet did that was this close to the sun and big, and made some good news, and it was really bright and stuff. Last time that happened, the sun ate that comet up. It's gone. So they're wondering what's going to happen with this one. They don't know for sure. And so I will say that. Well, right here it is, guys. Sorry, I didn't know it was right there. But yeah, that's it's showing you the way it's moving there. What's it say here? It says it's shining like an 8th magnitude star. They rate these the brightness of the stars by, obviously, magnitudes. The lower the number, the brighter it is. So if you get into like negative numbers, you're talking about something that's pretty bright. They're even talking about this one may be able to be seen during the daytime. A daytime star. That tells you right there that that's pretty bright. And people say, well, how can you see a star at daytime? Well, have you guys ever went outside and looked up and seen the moon during the day? That's because of the angle that the sun's hitting, and it's how bright it is. Okay, so it does happen. We do see daytime stars sometimes. Okay, so I just wanted to show you guys that, touch on that a little bit more, and we will go a little bit deeper on this subject. I do want to go into it and at least take a look at it. So yeah, I'll leave that at that on that part of it. Also, this, guys, we do have a sunspot. Okay, they gave it a number. So when they do that, that means it's an official sunspot, and it's on. Obviously, it's facing us. That means that when they do that, when they put a number to it, that's a true sunspot. They're actually logging it in as a sunspot. It doesn't mean that it's going to stick around all the time or be here for a while, but it looks like it might be. It looks pretty healthy. Okay, and if you look down here, it says they gave it a number, obviously AR 2759. And then it goes on to say it has reverse magnetic polarity. Okay, so that's how they judge whether or not it's from solar cycle 24 or 25. Okay, why do we even care about that? Well, when we start seeing stuff from solar cycle 25, that means we're going to start seeing the uptick in solar activity. Okay, right now we're low. We're at the bottom. Okay, as far as the sun cycle itself, which is typically about 11 years. And there's a clear cycle there that goes up and down. They call it solar minimum and solar maximum. We're going to start heading back into solar maximum. We're going to start seeing more activity on the sun. And one of the biggest evidences of this is when we start seeing sunspots from solar cycle 25. And how they designate that is by the polarity of the sunspot itself. If it's negative, positive, positive, negative, I'm not going to go too much into that because that's another long conversation. But that's actually what's going on. You can see the red right there. That's where the sunspot itself actually is. If we zoomed in a little bit closer, you would see other little pock marks there. I'm not going to do that, but that's what that is. We do. So now it's current stretch days is 0. Now it says right here, 2019, last year, remember? 77% of the time we had no sunspots. And if you follow the years down, you start seeing the cycle there. You see it? You can just do this. You can see the cycle without even putting it on a graph. That's just going year by year. So, you know, we always talk about grand solar minimum. That isn't just regular solar minimum, okay? That means this thing gets really, really, really quiet to where hardly anything is going on for a very extended period of time. And why is that important? Well, because the sun actually keeps our magnetic field strong, okay? It's always sending us energy, always. All right? So when the sun's weaker, our magnetic field's weaker. Well, what that does is when our magnetic field's weaker, the sun can still blow a flare or a CME no matter what solar cycle it's in. Whether it's going into solar maximum or minimum. It's the most dangerous when it's in a minimum because, like I just said, our magnetic field is weak. It's like 20-25%, I think, right now, weaker than its normality. So if a sun can blow a flare at any time, even when it's weak, that means we're weak. So if we get a solar flare right now that's big, or a CME that's big, it will have a drastically bigger effect on us. That's the reason why we care about this, okay? It sends, you know, like when we start seeing the sunspots, we get, you know, X-ray flux. It starts going up. And that's good for, like, I think it's radio operators and stuff. It helps them communicate better. But then it starts messing with GPS and all that. You know, there's a whole lot of different things going on there. And I'm not going to go into any of all that because it is a very, very long conversation. So I'm sure you guys are probably tired of hearing me already. But yeah, so we're going to get this conjunction right here. All right. It's happening tonight, I guess. It should be pretty bright for those of you guys who get a chance to have clear skies and be able to see it. All right. And again, Comet Atlas, I'm not going to go too much more into that right now. Just know that that's actually happening within, I think it's supposed to be out of here by like the end of May, I think. And there's a whole lot of people talking about this. And there's a whole range of where people are falling on this, okay? Whether it's going to be the end of the world, whether it's going to be, you know, nothing to even, don't even look at it, don't waste your time, you know, all that kind of stuff, right? So, again, this thing was only discovered in 2019. So it's hard for me to sit here and say that we have anything definitive because there is no research on this particular comet that has any like long-lasting research. It's just been a few months. And again, when this thing gets close to the sun, who knows? Sun might eat it up. What's that mean for us? Well, like I just said, its atmosphere is actually half the size of the sun. Okay? How close is it going to get to us? We'd have to go look at an orbit, but, you know, is it going to affect us? You know, guys, I just simply don't know. Again, there's a lot of people talking about this. You guys can go look at them and make up your own mind. I'm not going to even assert what my position on this is because it just doesn't matter because there's so much stuff that's unknown. That's all. So, yeah, we won't talk about that anymore until, again, I may do another video just specifically on that comet because it is interesting. All right, and there's a lot of interesting theories, and there's a lot of different stuff going on there. So, okay, guys, I want to show you this article here too that really is just now kind of hitting the news. This right here is exactly what I was talking about with this whole global illness. All right, we're never going to know the truth, and you know the people that could actually tell us the truth aren't going to be allowed to even talk. And this right here proves it. Okay? The USS Theodore Roosevelt captain, he got fired. What for? Because he was blowing up, you know, he was whistleblowing, basically. Says outbreak on his ship in leaked letter. In other words, they had an outbreak on the USS Theodore. And he blew the top off of it in this letter, and he got fired for it. Okay? That right there tells you that we're not gonna get any kind of true anything on this. And I want to say this too, okay? If people think that, we're getting told the truth, I really think that, man, I just don't see how anybody could actually say that. We're not, and like I said before, this is not completely 100% fake, but it's also not completely 100% true. That's what I was trying to say earlier. And this right here proves it. Okay? I mean, wow. That guy, I mean, that's amazing. I just don't understand, why we have to be like this to our people. Take this in consideration. This is what I would challenge you guys to do, okay? Go back and watch, I don't know, about a month ago when, our prez was up there doing his press conferences, right? There's a couple things here that I'm going to say that I was really kind of trying to avoid even talking about, but I'm going to say this, okay? Watch his attitude and his demeanor from the time he first started, and how confident he was that things were going to be okay, and nothing was really going to change, right? They had done taking those steps, and they had done everything they could do. Pretty much is basically what he was saying at the beginning. And then we all heard talk about everything getting started back up in like 2 weeks. Well, obviously, he's come out and retracted all that and said, hey, we need to, go on to the end of the month, that kind of a thing, right? But, in his defense, the one thing I can say in his defense is they've always maintained the position that this is very fluid. In other words, it can change at any time. That sometimes that's just them having a way out, but other times it's actually true. And I don't know which is which, okay, here. But I can tell you this. If you look at the way he does the press conferences now, most definitely is different. Okay, a lot of the optimism is gone. You can see it on his face, guys. Number one, he's extremely exhausted. He's reading from teleprompters or a speech written down. And you can clearly see when he takes his pauses because he's just simply reading off of it. He isn't normally like that. So you got to start asking yourself questions when it comes to that. Plus, there's a couple other things that may not mean nothing, but they could actually mean the whole story. Like, when he gets up there and starts talking from any podium, the presidential seal should be on the front of that podium. Well, at least 3 times it wasn't there. Why would they even change that? Okay? You can't tell me that was forgotten. There's no way, because that's somebody's job. Plus, the presidential flag is always flying in the back behind him. That wasn't there either. So you have to ask yourself, what in the world is going on? Who is actually doing whatever here, this, that, and the other? And I'm not trying to say anything. I'm just telling you the observations. You guys can go look for yourself. Very seldom have I ever seen him sweat, perspire on his face and stuff. I was watching a couple days ago and I was texting back and forth with Scott while I was doing that, and I said, dude, you see the sweat on his upper lip and all over his face? What is going on? Is he sick? Or is he not? Or is he just trying to, has he been told that, hey man, no. I don't know, guys. And this is why it's so hard to nail down the truth on this whole situation. Which means we're never ever going to know the entire truth, because look at what we're looking at here. Alright? The top people are being silenced. So, and it's already obvious that, we didn't get the real numbers from China. And that's just going to trickle down. How this stuff got here, there. Scott did a live stream. It was a pretty long live stream. but he's broken it down into 3 different sections. I would encourage you guys to go over and watch that, because he puts forth a lot of good questions. And he has a few answers there too. At least what he thinks is, and the observations and stuff that he's hearing. Okay? So please go watch that. I'll leave a link in the description, okay? But just understand, guys, that this is happening. Just like this. And that, that's the whole point here. So yeah, guys, I am going to go ahead and end it right there. Yeah, we can go down through here and look at all this stuff, okay? But plus we got to talk about these things that are, I'm not, like I said, I'm not going to talk much more about this subject on my channel anymore anyway. There's a lot of things going on with that too. That people that don't know about this, if you start any creator out there that's reporting on this, do not ever use the word fake in anything. If you do, you're going to get your video pulled down. Okay, don't put it in your title, don't put it on your thumbnail. You might be able to dodge the algorithm if you do that. That's what I'm trying to say. Okay, not to say that some of the stuff we see isn't fake or not true or whatever words we want to use there, but just using that word itself, it'll get stuff pulled down and demonetized at the very least. And again, that doesn't bother me because I don't monetize. So it is what it is. But I just wanted to give a little bit of an idea there for people to look at. So this here, guys, is obviously why I did this video today. Just starting off with it anyway. But yeah, just take a look at that, guys. Try to stay positive. Okay, guys, as much as you can. Especially those of us that are fighting, illnesses and stuff. It's hard to stay positive, but just try your best. Okay, that's all you really can say to people. And it's really what we have to do. Just know that whatever is actually going on, we'll make it through it. Okay? Just stay up like that. And guys, just don't, because even if it is extremely bad, it doesn't do any good to have that thought all the time, because it will affect you and affect you badly. But yeah, just check out this, and if anybody has any ideas on what's going on there, drop it in my comment section or whatever. Email me, whatever you need to do. And but yeah, guys, thanks again for all the prayers and well wishes and good thoughts and energy and stuff sent my way. I really, truly, I can't say thanks enough on that. So God bless. Yeshua saves, and you can drink this Kool-Aid.